Hello to my video blog. Today we will cover again CrossVCL with the topic files and folders. We will see how we can act on the different platforms with the if-def declaration and the TOS version, and we can see how we get the different relevant files and folders with the system utils unit, and then we will see how we can copy, move, delete files or folders with the help of tfile and directory, and at the end we will have a look at the installation places for our program. So the easiest way to differentiate between the different platforms is using if-def. For example, when we look here in the creation part of the main unit, we can see if-def MS Windows, then a special file at the internet should be used for update checking, and if we on Linux, then it's another file, and the same when we are on the Mac. And by using this if-def names, MS Windows, Linux, Mac OS, you can cover the most thing that's relevant for you. And of course, also we want to know sometimes at runtime what platforms especially and what system exactly we are using, that we can use with the TOS version from the system sysutils unit, and you can see how easy it is to enhance your existing functions. You see here the get OS name function. By starting, it has only covered Windows. It's a typical way you perhaps also use, and I have only add this few lines to make it work for macOS and Linux. And you can see this program when it is running. Here on Windows we have this Windows 10 for 64-bit and the computer username and the name of the computer, the IP addresses, and so on. What we cover here at this point is only the name of the system. On Ubuntu, the result is something like this, and on Mac OS we have here this result, Mac OS 10.14. I will show you also shortly how the other informations can be get from the systems. So I've shown you already getting the OS name, computer name. Surprise, surprise, no changing. It's a original version from Windows. CrossVCL maps that automatically to the relevant macOS or Linux systems. The same is with this get this computer name. It's the WinRP get computer name function that is also automatically mapped to Linux and macOS. And I have mentioned the bit info. I've got it here. Is Windows 64 is the question, and originally I have made this for Windows and enhance it only with this short lines. Again, with the TOS version architecture information, you get the information, is it 64-bit or not. And what we have not yet seen is here that get IP info. Original, the Windows version is this way you have perhaps see already, and for Linux and Mac OS I use Indie and do it on this way. So now when we know the platform and the special system, it would be also fine to know the normal use places like documents, the desktop. Here in Linux it is called Schreibtisch in German, and music folders, video folders, pictures, the download folder and the program folder and the media folder. The media folder, this is in Linux normally the place where the different disks or CD-ROMs are mounted. So how we get this, I've mentioned it just in the beginning with the system IO utils function, and we have a look at it now. Here you can see the typical way on Windows how to get a special folder location by use of the function get special folder and with the CSIDL variables and or constants, and on Linux and Apple macOS we do it in this way. If we have here to get the desktop path, it is done by system iotils tpath get home path and manually adding the word Schreibtisch, and the document path is by handled by get document path, and the same with the music path, with the pictures path, with the get downloads path and the home path. The program paths are set normally in the Linux with user bin, and the media path is media, and under Mac OS we have the application path here, and your hard disks are accessible about the media path volumes. Perhaps just another important information is where you can save your special application data. On Windows you normally use this get special folder app data, and on Linux and Mac OS you use the home path, and you add this with a .config. This is normally a hidden folder on the different systems, Linux or Mac OS, and we can just have a look at it. So here when I go to the I firstly have to show also the hidden so, and now we can look in the config directory on the entry, the directory for this file IO program. You have here the configuration file and other program relevant data, small cache for images, and for the FTP hosts information, and so on. So another topic that we wanted to address was the question how can we copy files and folders. And for example, if we here have two files that we want to copy into another drive here on my PC, it's another hard drive, and I pass it, and here you see from this location to this location, and it's already there. I said yeah, replace it, and as you can see here the time and date are kept, and I will show you how you manage this. So this is a function copy one file to that I used to copy a file from one location to another. On Windows I use a relatively complicated function that breaks the file in smaller parts, and that is done. That is also possible to copy files in gigabyte size. But on Windows and Linux it's much more easier. I use here also the system IoT's file copy function that do it all for you. And here, to keep the attributes of the file and the time settings, you can use file set attributes at the destination with get attributes from the source, and the same is for the creation time and the last write time. So you see, it's very easy to copy files and folders. With directory you do it with a T directory, so in a similar way like this here. So at the end of the video I will say some words to the installation places on Linux and macOS. On macOS it's very easy, it's the application folders, and on Linux you have several opportunities. The standard would be, if you are using this folder, it's user bin. Here you find, for example, Thunderbird or other popular Firefox programs and so on. And here is also another bin folder, but this folder here are executables that are for the systems relevant, for example the bash and so on. And but you are relatively free where you want to install your programs. I install my programs here in the personal folder, in the directory Hastasoft. You see here several programs that here are installed. I can just start one program here. This is a program that is done with a FMX on Delphi, and I've mimic in such a way here the folders from the Apple system. So I have here this app folder, resources, and something like this. But that isn't not necessary. You can use only one folder, but it's an easier to handle the file system when you deploy your program on Linux and macOS, when it's same location logic. So that was it for today. I hope it helps you a little bit, and you can see it's not complicated. With CrossVCL I manage all these files and folder and location also on the other platforms. Bye bye.